Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer, and I'm here to build a model kit and hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe, the Tier 2 blue emote in a chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you are not yet a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes. Or if you want to be a lurker, you can go ahead and lurk. Harold threw in some emotes before we got started, as did the Defiant Salem. Ghost Valve is here. Hello, Ghost Valve. Welcome, welcome. It's a Thursday premiere day, as we say here, because my first ever Build with Baer Workshop stream was on a Thursday, and for a bit there, that was the only day of the week that I streamed. And everything else has just been an addition of Saturdays, and then Mondays, and then bonus streams on Wednesday, which then became bonus stream on Tuesday. All of that spewed forth from the Thursday streams. I hope you're doing well. This might be a chill stream. I don't know. I should mention that we are currently at 45 out of 50 subscribers. That's right. The sub goal is back, baby, because I got a sub goal. I want to hit 50. That's the idea. We haven't done this in a while because I have been well over that. But that's because I did my birthday stream, and that was like hey, I want to break my record, and then we did by so much. And now my record for the most subscribers at any one time is 103, which is too many. That's double what I'm trying to do right now, plus 3. So that's a lot. Will we ever hit that number again? I don't know. I guess sometime next year I'll do another subathon. I don't think I can pull off more than 2 a year. I think it's diminishing returns, and right now I got a high and I don't need a low. You know what I mean? I don't need one that doesn't go well. Plus, we'll see. I might be doing a bonus stream this month. Speaking of subscribers, Lord Crashington has resubbed at Tier 1. That's 49 months, which is so many months. Let's throw the Bear Cave Lego Scythe emote into chat to thank Lord Crashington as I read the message and I play the clapping. Saying, Lord Crashington says, "Hey Pat, hope things are going well and keep up the great work." Thank you very much, Lord Crashington. Things are going all right, and I appreciate you you're resubbing. Lord Crashington also wants me to hit that dance button, which I will right now. I was waiting for that bass line to kick in. We're not going to do that every time because that was a little long, but we do want to hear that bass kick in. Thank you for using your channel points, Lord Crashington. I'm sure you have a ton of them. You can, with channel points, if you're unaware, folks, you can have me ring a physical bell, ring the bell. I will play a dance song, a new dance song every month, and dance a bit. And then there's you can ask a question, or you can just really ask a question. Oh, you only have 48,886. Yeah. Hey, Lashbrook. The other thing you could do with your channel points is I have a sound effect that's just someone saying, "Yeah." And you can make me do that and press that. And that costs a lot because I want to have one that was very expensive but doesn't have a good reward. It's just a way to reduce your channel points. Just make me press the yeah button. I got a button that says yeah on it. So yeah, those are all the ways. I used to have a gong, but that was a decorative gong. But I decided I didn't like the vibe of that, and I got a bell instead. I did not make the trip here to South Carolina, or did it? And then I threw it away. I can't remember. Sometimes things are a blur in my mind. Anyway, what am I even working on tonight? Oh, we got the Qubeley. We got the Qubeley right here. We built the head, the chest. We did one whole arm and incredibly detailed shoulder things because they're also wings. And so they got to open up and look cool. And there's a lot of detail with them. We did all that. Got a lot done on this kit on Monday, which is very fun. And then on Tuesday, I played a video game. More Persona 4 Golden with mods. Thank you if you decided to spend some time with me while I did that on Tuesday. That was a fun stream. Speaking of streams, we should actually get into the build portion of the stream. I think I'm done letting people be fashionably late to the old streamaroo. and instead we can get into the actually building a model kit. Boom, overhead shot. Again, we're currently at 45 subscribers. The sign thing goes away. When I hit 50, I stop talking about it until I drip below 50. Or droop below, not drip, droop below 50. And then I bring it up again. So if you want to be the top of the gift sub leaderboard, you could. You don't have to. Again, optional. Don't have to do it. I'm only going to mention it one more time, and that's during the pause for the cause. So in 51 minutes and change, I'll probably say something about it again. But right now, we're going to work on this kit. And I'm going to talk to you about a thing. I got asked a question. I got it sent to a DM, because those are still a thing. So I want to clear the air about a thing. I'm not going to PAX. I don't know why. Apparently, more than one person concluded that League of Heels, or that Aaron Trites talking about League of Heels meant that he and I are going to PAX and that League of Heels is going to PAX. We're not. A lot of people are talking about PAX West and going to PAX West. That does not include myself, nor does it include Aaron. We're not part of that. Aaron has done a thing that is League of Heels related that will not be revealed for some amount of time. It is a cool thing, but it is not us doing that show at a convention, and specifically League of Heels at PAX, but any convention. There are no plans as of right now for League of Heels to be involved in anything and do anything, except that Aaron got to do a kind of cool thing that you'll hopefully hear more about in the near future. I actually don't know when that cool thing will be revealed to people. I can't talk about the specifics of it. But I can just say, yeah, we're not going. It had not even occurred to me to think about going to PAX West. This seems to be the PAX that people are going back to, which, good luck. But at the time where I would have had to make a decision about that, it did not seem prudent. And now it definitely does not seem prudent, as you may be aware, that folks, there are outbreaks of COVID everywhere, certainly all the time, but also coming out of Gen Con and coming out of EVO. Sonic Fox has COVID, among other people. I'm only thinking specifically of Sonic Fox because there was someone who was like, oh, well, if you cared so much about distancing, why were you hugging this guy? And has a video of him hugging one of his other competitors. And it's like, and then Sonic Fox is just like, I shouldn't hug my roommate? And he's like, yeah. Yeah, you can hug your roommate. I mean, like, if you think one of you has COVID, don't. But just like in general, yeah, you're probably going to not be so. It's hard to be socially distant with your roommate. You can do it. You can be emotionally distant with your roommate, no problem. But physically distant, it can be a little tough. So yeah, with the rise of various COVIDs, people were saying maybe this is the year that this is the PAX where they don't enforce mask mandates, because the state of Seattle certainly doesn't necessarily want them to, because the state of Seattle, some people in the state of Seattle, in the tourism part of the state of Seattle, definitely, or the state of Washington. I said the state of Seattle. The city of Seattle in the state of Washington. There are folks in the city of Seattle that certainly do not want mask mandates for events because they believe that it will reduce the amount of people who would be willing to go to such an event. Even though it clearly that is not the case, and specifically with PAX, when they haven't enforced or said they were going to enforce it and then later did, they later did because a large portion of their community was like, hey, what the fuck? What's going on right now? So, Oh no, less people that don't care about cleanliness. Indeed. And, you know, it's going to be too busy. It's going to be busy and bad. It's a convention. The photos that came out of, like, look, I'm of two minds when it comes to looking at photos of all the motherfuckers in the audience for the finals at Evo, the Street Fighter finals at Evo. The amount of people there in the crowd for Street Fighter was remarkable. But also I looked at that crowd, and specifically I looked at the Gen Con crowds, and I was like, ugh. As you know, as many of you know, I should say, I have been to PAX Unplugged, which is the smallest PAX. There is no smaller PAX. PAX Unplugged is the small one. I mask mandate the whole time. Everybody there, including employees, everybody wearing masks. I felt pretty damn good about it at the time. I still feel pretty damn good about it. I don't know. I don't think. So I mentioned this last year, how 2 years ago I went to PAX Unplugged, kind of not really last minute, but kind of late in the game. I made the decision that I was going to go, and mostly that was because the flights were very cheap. It was December, and it was not super hard to get a flight there. Airbnb prices weren't bad because people were, desperate to have folks there. How much smaller is it than South? That's my only frame of reference. So Lashbrook, it's way smaller than South. PAX Unplugged is big. If you've ever been to PAX East and you've seen, so PAX East has a huge part of its show floor is sectioned off, and that's all tabletop. That size is a little bit bigger than the show floor for all of PAX Unplugged. There are a lot of people that are there that only do D&D, that only do panel stuff, that only go in and buy and leave. There's a lot of one-day people at PAX Unplugged because they go, they buy their game, they go and play their game with their friends. There's a lot of hotel, like every hotel rents their tables by the hour because if there's a common space with a table, somebody is there to play. Because it's just like there's so many people that want to play games, and all of that. So it's smaller than PAX South was, certainly. It's a fun convention, but what was I saying? I didn't. 2 years ago, I was like, kind of last minute, I was like, you know what? Let me see. And there were two airlines that were flying out of my local area. My local airport had 2 flights to Philadelphia, and they were cheap. And for the first weekend of December, they were crazy cheap, because that's one of the problems with PAX Unplugged for me. It used to be, I just took the train. I took Amtrak from New York. It took 4 hours, but whatever. You ride on a train, you get Wi-Fi. Amtrak's good about having their Wi-Fi work. Not every company, every place is, but they're pretty damn good about making sure that works. So, I would just relax on the train and go. I did the last year, 2019, PAX Unplugged 2019. I got on a train and went down, got on the first train of the day, did an evening panel, got on the last train of the day, went back. I just did one day, which was too much. I should have stayed overnight, but whatever. It was still fun. So 2 years ago, it was kind of last minute. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go. I made sure I could get a panel, and I went. Last year, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this again. One of the 2 airlines that had done flights from my local area directly to Philadelphia stopped doing that flight. And the other company raised their prices by more than double, I should say. More than double the price. And I was looking at tickets way in advance. But again, first weekend of December. Real fucking bummer. The Airbnb prices didn't seem too bad, but they weren't great. I wasn't thrilled about that. So I reached out to my contacts at Reed, and was like, hey, can you help me out? I'd like to do a panel. I can also be a guest on panels. I'm available and interested in doing other stuff always. Let me know what's going on. And, we could talk about other PAX events in the future if you want to talk about other PAX events. And they made it happen. I was able to go to PAX Unplugged last year because I received help. I have not asked about this year for PAX Unplugged. I am going to reach out about it. Usually I wait until... So since I'm not going to go on my own, because the flights have gotten even more expensive for that, and there is no alternative. So there's not no alternative. If I drove 4 hours, I could then take a 13-hour regional train that it doesn't have transfers. It's a direct stop. It becomes a different train at one point, but you don't have to get off the train. But I would still have to get a 4-hour drive. That's the train alternative. So no good alternative for me as far as taking the train there, because I did look at it. It's like, even if I waste a day, it would, if it's cheaper than a flight, maybe I'll do that. No, that's not feasible. So, basically, if I go to Unplugged, it will be because I am being sponsored to go by Reed, and not on my own dime, because I cannot afford that. Just can't do that. So, if I do, I'll let you know. I'm waiting until West is like over to be like, hey, what's up? What's going on? You got room for a Pat Baer? What's happening? Do a panel and all that. Ghost Val, so I'm hoping I can maybe squeeze in PAX Unplugged this year. Just got hired again, and I have to save up. Hell yeah, Ghost Val. It's very fun. Also, I'd be doing a panel. I should say, if I don't go to a PAX Unplugged, this will be the first year that I haven't gone to a PAX. This will be the first year I'm not involved with a PAX, I should say, since the first PAX East. Because I went to the first PAX East. And, of course, in 2021, I was involved in some PAX Online. So I count that. I count PAX Online. But, I have now missed several PAXs, but at least I've done Unplugged. It's weird to think that there exists the possibility that this year I won't go to a PAX, and I've done that for 10 years. Oh, well over 10 years. So that's weird. That's strange to think about. I don't know. So even though Aaron has been saying some stuff, he has not been saying some stuff because we're doing anything. Just to reiterate, we will not be at PAX West. If we were, I would have fucking told you all about it. I would already be promoting it. I would already be trying to save the date, and I would be hectic trying to get a poster made up and figure out who the fuck do I know in Seattle right now that would take delivery of 2 boxes of shirts. At least 2 boxes of shirts. I would have to have at least 100 or 50 shirts? 50 shirts. I'd have to get delivery of 50 shirts. Samantha Kalman did that for me in the past. That is not an option in the future. I also don't know, because it's that fucking nightmare weekend. I don't know how I would ship stuff out. Ugh. Because PAX ends on a Monday. And it's a holiday, so nothing is open. Like, no FedEx is open. The last time we did it, and we had a bunch of merch, I had my friend at Oni were there. My friends at Oni, multiple friends at Oni, none of whom work there anymore. Fun. But they were there, and they were Portland based. They still are, but they're Portland based. So they were like, "How much is it?" I'm like, "It's this box," and they're like, "Okay, do you need it immediately?" And I was like, "Fuck no." They're like, "Great, load it up, tape it up, label it. We'll put it in the van. We'll take it to Portland. We'll put it on the pallet for New York Comic Con in October because it was September, and we'll just put it right on one of the pallets that's going to go there, and then come pick it up because I was going to be doing stuff with Oni at New York Comic Con anyway, and so I brought my hand truck and picked it up and did that, and that was the year I did not have to take a wrestling belt on a plane. It was the first year in many years that I didn't have to do that, which was awesome because I was tired of doing that. And I just realized the next time we do a League of Heels, I'm going to have to do that unless we unless I ship it. If we did PAX East, I could theoretically mail the League of Heels belt to Aaron's parents who still live in Boston. I'd probably still take it on the plane. I would probably still check a bag and put it in the bag that I check so that I don't have to make my carry-on the wrestling belt, which I have done in the past. People don't ask as many questions as you might think when you try to take a wrestling belt on a plane, but they occasionally do ask some. Often their thing is, wait, is WWE in town? I have been asked that. And in one case, the answer was yes. They were in town. Being a hip-hop gamer on planes. Indeed. But yeah, I have made my carry-on a duffel bag that just had electronics and a wrestling belt. You do get asked some questions. Mostly I get asked about the electronics because it's like, hey, why do you have all this? And I'm just going, tech conference, which is true. Harold, you have a good night, and I will catch you later. So yeah, so that was that. I wanted to, talk a bit about that. I have no immediate plans. If I go to PAX Unplugged, you'll know about it. That's the next PAX that I would think about. And then, but yeah, look, would I like to do League of Heels again? Yes. Straight up, I would like to do League of Heels again. I would like to showcase new cool people. Use the leverage of Felix and Harris and other people that are still very tuned into the indie game community and get some indie devs we don't know. Because the journalists I know probably won't necessarily be there. It'll be like the guys who are still executives at places that can justify going. Because even the people I know on community teams, like Pope is not doing cons. That's not part of his community stuff. Could I convince Eric Pope to be on the community team that goes to a PAX? I don't know if I could. And I don't think I would. I would think I would tell him, I'm like, hey man, if you have any thoughts about going to blank, we're going to be there. And that is what I would say to lots of people is, hey, if you're going to be there. But like Casey, Young Dota will be there. Chris Straub will be there. Like there are people I can ask to do things because I know they will be there. Various people, no, Lord Crashington, Eric Pope does not need to be doing street teams anymore. No, he doesn't need to be doing street teams. Loading Ready Run has started to do, they're doing PAX West. They're going to start doing PAXs again. Like, I will be able to pull people for, also, just going to put it out there. If we do a League of Heels show and we do a Rumble, that would be Aaron's idea and not mine, and I would vehemently oppose it because it's too many fucking people. And the last one we did almost caused an argument with multiple friends of mine that I was not pleased with me having arguments. If we brought back League of Heels, it would be a multiple match scenario, and it would be very fun, but it would not be a Rumble because that's too much goddamn work. Trying to book 30 plus people, because you also have announcers, you have people who are not getting the 30 because they're in the main event that's post the 30. There's people who are affiliated and don't want to like be in the thing, but they want to do another thing. And then like the tech friends or backstage help. I don't think Eric Canis lives in Canada anymore. Our film person, Eric, lived in Regina, and I don't think he lives in Regina anymore. I think he might have moved to England. So I don't think we could get what I'm saying is, I don't think we could get our film guy. I'm fairly confident that I would be unable to book Eric. So then it's like, all right, then who do we get to film? Like, it's all of that shit. If I have all of the technical things, I don't have a good gaming laptop anymore. I've got a good travel laptop, but it's not like I'd probably be able to run it. I could run PowerPoint on it and run a slideshow on it, no problem. I'm fairly confident I could not run on that machine. I don't think I could even run an emulator with 4 controllers. I bet that wouldn't work. I guess I could probably run Jackbox again. Probably get that done. But that might be it as far as like cool shit that I can get done on that thing. So yeah, so it's like, all right, well, then we got to have, what are we going to bring? Does Aaron's N64 still work? Does any of the people that we eventually trained on how to fucking help us run a thing, like do those people still even do conventions? Are they around? Like, there's so much to think about with that. Of course, I would like to do it. I would love to be a reason that some people, that are on the fence that would like to go to a cool event, go to a cool event. I would like for that to be the case. That some people I know would be like, we're fucking doing it again? All right, yeah, all right, yeah, okay. We're going. I would not be opposed to that. But I don't know. All right, I got to put stickers on here. I'm going to put some stickers on these things. And while I do that, let's do a quick thing here. So right now, some amount of matches have been announced for All In. All In is a AEW pay-per-view happening. What day is that happening? All In will be August 27th, 2023, which is, if you're doing the math, very fucking soon. 2 weeks and a couple days from now. And as of last night, they announced more matches. So we do have some amount of matches. We knew what the main event was going to be. MJF defending his AEW World Championship against Adam Cole. They're friends, and it's going to be a thing. We knew that FTR had laid down the challenge to the Young Bucks. That challenge has been accepted, so the AEW World Tag Team Championships is on the line. FTR, Dex Harwood and Cash Wheeler, are taking on Matt and Nick Jackson. We found out in that night that they didn't get the tag team belts. They lost their opportunity. Better Than You, Baby, which is MJF and Adam Cole. And even though they're main eventing, they put out a challenge to Aussie Open for 0 Hour, which is the free kickoff show. They were like, let's challenge for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship. So MJF and Adam Cole doing double duty. tagging together at the start of the night and then main eventing against each other, which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool storytelling. There is a 4-way fight for the AEW World Women's Championship, which will be Hikaru Shida defending against confirmed Toni Storm, either Saraya or someone else, and then a fourth, which is Britt Baker or someone else. It's going to be Britt Baker. Yes, the Bunny or Britt Baker. And then Saraya fights Sky Blue at Rampage, which is already taped but hasn't aired, so I won't spoil it, even though it's already taped and people know. That 4-way fight came together terribly. It's a bummer. It was like, it's a tournament. There's only actually 2 matches involved before you get to the finals, because one of the ways was the match they already booked with Shida and Anna Jay, and it was like, this is the last sticker that we need to apply. No stickers on the legs or the waist, so we are done with stickers here. We had the alternate eye stickers, which we didn't use, and that's it. This is now the last sticker, which is great. Very few stickers. We literally applied 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9 stickers, and we're done. So that's great. Then we need PC3. Great. Let's see. Other wrestling stuff. Also announced on Dynamite. Darby Allin and Sting will take on the tag team, the Mogul Embassy, which in this case will be AR Fox and Swerve Strickland, with Prince Nana, of course, as a manager, in a tag team coffin match. You win by... Now, a coffin match traditionally is a solo where you win by putting your opponent in a coffin and closing the lid on that coffin. Makes sense. Now, how does that work in a tag team? Is it first person on either team? Is it both people in the same casket? Is it will there be multiple caskets? Is it an elimination casket match where there are up to 3 caskets? Or coffins, I should say. Not caskets, coffins. I don't know. I don't have answers to these questions. I just know it's stupid in a way that I can appreciate. Especially because Darby has a move called the coffin drop, where he falls backwards. He crosses his arms and falls backwards and off of a tall thing. Sting on the card is a no-brainer. It makes a lot of sense. This is, the big London show. It will be one of the biggest wrestling events of all time. They have already sold more tickets than WWE did in the 90s with the British Bulldog in the main event. So, it's going to be a big thing. It's going to be very big and cool. It's so cool. So right now, we got 4 matches on the main card. We got one match on the pre-show, and we got possibly 1 British person, because Saraya is going to go up against Sky Blue. Saraya is probably going to be in that match, so there'll be 2 members of the same faction in that match. Will be a bummer. So yeah, I imagine that Saraya will go to that match. So there will be, so far, there is the possibility, but probably 1 British person on that whole thing. That's weird. Pac is injured. Kip Sabian is not a big deal, but would be cool if Kip got to do some stuff there. Do I think Zack Sabre Jr. has been booked for that show? Yes. I do think that they booked Zack Sabre Jr. For that event. I would love to see Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. for the All-Atlantic title, and I'd like to see Zack Sabre Jr. defeat Orange Cassidy. I'll tell you one belt I don't think will be on the line, the TNT title, because Darby is facing Luchasaurus at All Out. What's All Out, Pat? You been talking about All In, this wrestling show. What's All Out? That's the other wrestling show that they're doing 1 week later, 6 days after. They're doing 2 fucking pay-per-views in the span of a week. I can't imagine this was always the plan. I have to imagine they thought that they'd be streaming on Max at this point or something. But yeah, no, they're going to fucking sell both of them. And that's wild to me. Wet and it's not even wet and wild. It's just wild. It's wilding. They're straight wilding right now. Unbelievably weird that they're going to do it. They're doing it though. They're fucking doing it. Going to do 2 goddamn pay-per-views. They're approaching WWE levels of the amount of wrestling per week. Indeed. They produce almost the same amount. So if you look at it, you've got, I'm not even going to talk about NXT and Ring of Honor. Let's leave those there. Just AEW and WWE. AEW does 5 hours of mainline programming plus about an hour or so of like bonus stuff. AEW does the same amount. They do 5 hours of mainline programming. There's a fluctuation there because Ring of Honor can be however long they want it to be. And they don't do any bonus material there. So WWE does a little bit more weekly because they have some bonus shows they do. Bring back the all-in name is so dumb. Yes, Lashbrook. But I would say this. Your first show in the UK being at Wembley Stadium, or Wembley Arena, I should say, not stadium, the big Wembley. The big Wembley. That is going all in. That is a huge risk. So I can understand that. Now, doing that the week before All Out instead of All Out, foolish. It is, they don't want to lose that weekend because it's like a big holiday weekend, but they're making a fucking mistake. It's unbelievably silly that they're doing this. To keep laying claim to that weekend is utter foolishness. Anyway, if you count NXT and Ring of Honor, now, for a little while, AEW and WWE were tied for the amount of belts that the companies had. It used to be WWE had one more belt, but they merged the NXT women's tag team belts with the WWE proper women's tag team belts. So they unified those belts, and so at that point they were even. But now CM Punk has defended his quote-unquote real world championship, the belt that he never lost because he was fucking furloughed and sent home. He couldn't lose it because he wasn't fucking there to have them take it away from him. But anyway, he was stripped of the belt, but he still has the belt, and he defended that belt, which means that is a recognized belt in AEW, meaning that AEW now has one more belt than WWE, which is too many belts. Just too many belts. So many goddamn belts. Anyway, I mean, look, am I going to watch? My only problem with the 1 p.m. Eastern start time of All In is that I normally eat dinner with my folks at 5 p.m. It's so early. I know, right? 5 p.m. is so early. That's when they like to eat dinner. I don't know if that show is going to be 4 hours or not. It might be longer than 4 hours. I might be like late to dinner because I'm watching wrestling. Like, I don't know. I can't say for sure. Obviously, it'll start before 1 because they got to do that. Too many belts? Yeah. That would be a fun list sketch. I'll say this, friends. The next, not the current one, because I put a new one out yesterday. The next episode of Baerly Rehearsed is going to be wrestling themed. I have not done a wrestling themed one, but I was inspired to do one. And I think it's pretty funny. So I'll be doing that. This whole wrestling, the next wrestling bit of business, I think it's pretty good. So the next one. So get ready next Monday. I'm teasing it, or next Wednesday, I should say. I've written it. I haven't performed it yet. I haven't filmed it, but I wrote it. It is wrestling themed. It needs a couple revisions, but it's going to be pretty good, I think. Speaking of pretty good, let's see. Anything else about AEW Dynamite results? I'm going to look quickly through these Dynamite results, see if there's anything else there. The main event. Hey, look, Hikaru Shida and Anna Jay, solid ass match. Main evented Dynamite. We love to see it. Now, it made it sound. At one point, it did sound like there was going to be 2 women's matches on the show, which would have been fucking wild. But instead, no. Shida, who already is the champion, they retroactively decided that the match that she had already been booked was, part of this entrant into the 4-way, which doesn't make any fucking sense. Because why wouldn't? What? That was just weird. But anyway, that was a good match. Hardys and the Young Bucks were that was fucking dope. That was a long opening match. The Young Bucks made the Hardy Boys seem less terrible than they are. I love the Hardys. I just don't think either Matt or Jeff should be wrestling anymore. I think they need to stop. Here's the thing. I'll skip to that. The Hardys came out with 2 of their friends. And that annoys me because both of their friends, Isaiah Cassidy and Ethan Page, I'd rather see wrestle because they're both very good at wrestling, but also they're both young and not beat to fuck. And what if they got to actually fucking wrestle? Wouldn't that be novel and cool if they were wrestling instead of 2 old broken dudes facing 2 guys who are younger and can still go? I don't know. AEW fucking has a boner for tag teams made up of real actual brothers. Because you have the Bucks, you have the Hardys, you have the Lucha Bros, our brothers. You have Dralistico and Roosh, their brothers. You have the Boys. Those are twin brothers. The best version of that. They're twin brothers. Who are other brothers? There's more of them. Of course, the Briscoes. Rest in peace, certainly. They were there as brothers. Gravity is now a Ring of Honor talent. He's the brother of Bandito. So they're not a tag team yet, but they're brothers. Oh, and of course, the Guns. The Guns are brothers. Colton, Billy Gunn's 2 sons are a tag team, and they are brothers. Any fake brothers? No. There are no fake brothers that I know of in there. They're all actual real brothers. Matt Sydal is still signed. His brother was signed on an appearance basis. It is not currently signed. So the Sydal brothers are not available for that. And of course, Ryan Nemeth is signed, the brother of, Hollywood Hunk, is his brother Nick Nemeth, who is of course Dolph Ziggler. But they're not in the same thing. But those are brothers. They are brothers. But he's not there. There's just like I'm saying, there's like a lot of brothers in there. Oh, I forgot. Top Flight, because one is always injured. Dante and Darius Martin are brothers, and they are a tag team, except that one always seems to be fucking injured. which is a bummer, of course. And we wish him well. And we wish Dante a speedy recovery and Darius please not get hurt as soon as Dante comes back. But I believe those are all of the brothers. Anyway, AEW did start with the Jericho Appreciation Society, basically all walking out on Chris Jericho because he's been doing them wrong and doing them dirty. Everybody got to do an impassioned plea. The best one was, of course, Daddy Magic, Matt Menard, because Daddy Magic, Matt Menard is fucking magic. I'm really hoping that 2.0 gets to actually do some wrestling and show everyone how fucking legit they've been for years and years and years. We already know how funny they are and how weird they are. I'd love for people to know how good they are at wrestling, because they are exceptionally good. I imagine Daniel Garcia will mostly be on Ring of Honor at this point. Sammy Guevara, I think they're trying to turn babyface, which seems like a mistake. Looks like Anna Jay is going to stick with 2.0, which is good for them. Jake Hager, I don't know what the fuck they do with Jake Hager. I don't know. I feel like Jake Hager is going to show up in a faction at some point, because Jake Hager works best as the muscle in a faction and really nowhere else. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with any of them. But yeah, it was very WWE to start with a bunch of people talking on microphones, but instead of starting with a match. But it was good. Good bit of business. Good drama. Rob Van Dam wrestled. That's a weird thing for me to say. Rob Van Dam wrestled for the FTW Championship that is held right now by Jack Perry, formerly known as Jungle Boy. Jack Perry. That match was pretty good. Rob Van Dam is in his early 50s and still can fucking move, but is also clearly has lost many steps. He's still better than a lot of wrestlers, but like, I don't want him to do that anymore. I'd like him to stop, please. He's not as busted as some other wrestlers his age are, but even so, it's still like, yikes, dude. Get out of here, Rob. Very good promos from MJF and all of that. Lucha Bros versus Blackpool Combat Club was probably my favorite match of the night. Real good, real fun. Bloody and a mess, and they fucking did the thing where they took off Penta's mask so he wouldn't kick out of a pin, which is fucking devilish and mean and not cool. That's not cool. It's good heel. It's good heel shit. It's not cool shit, but it's good heel shit. Darby Allin and Sting set up that match. Sure. And the older he gets, the less it makes sense that Sting hitting people with a baseball bat is going to do that much damage to them. I mean, it's a baseball bat. But Sting is an old man. And the main event I already talked about, how that was fucking pretty cool. Other things and things. So, supposedly, the WGA negotiation committee is going to be meeting tomorrow with, this is just the Writers Guild, are supposedly meeting with the AMPTP tomorrow, the actual committee, not just some people, and the actual committee themselves are going to be meeting. Who knows what this could lead, if this is going to lead to anything. It's, part of continue to be part of a long process, but one would hope that this might be a positive move. That would be nice. And as always, friends, during that meeting, there will be leaks. There will have been timed leaks, because that is the playbook of these studio heads. You will see Dateline stories of inside the negotiations, we're hearing this and that. Reminder, the Writers Guild, SAG, they don't talk to the press. The leaks do not come from them. These will be pre-planned leaks. And at least one of these will probably break the news early, which is what happened during the last conversation. Um, never trust these because most of the entertainment stuff that you're going to hear this from, their sources are plants. These are planted stories, and everyone knows it. So don't believe that shit until you hear from the WGA. It was reported that Larian says, "Hey, we're gonna fix this thing we fucked up." Now, obviously, there have been patches. There's whole things with penises and stuff like that. We don't need to get into the patch notes. The thing they're gonna try to do is, apparently, the people that they outsourced to do some translation didn't give them the full localization, I should say. Didn't give them the full team's name. And so basically they were like, hey, we printed what was given to us. That company didn't give us all the names, but we're going to fix it. Basically they promised, we'll fix it. The group that they hired, basically, they said, translation for Baldur's Gate 3 worked for 3 years, translating more than 1 million words. And this is so basically, Altagram is the group that they hired to do the work of translation. And they they give them a list of just execs and leads. They didn't give them a complete list. Now, is that lays the feet of the group? Yes, the people that did this made this choice. But also, come on. Obviously there's a lot of fires to put out, but Larian must have known the list they got was not a complete list. There's no way they would not know that wasn't a complete list. It just clearly fell through the cracks of them actually getting it fucking fixed before the game came out. Clearly. But yeah, it's a real bummer. Also that I think on both ends, both parties. Real bummer. I'm going to sneeze. Oof, that was a loud one. My apologies if Mike picked that up. Didn't want that to. We got to make a hand here. We're almost done with our second arm. Thank God. Getting through the arm here. Staff member worked on the game. Spanish localization team, who was properly credited, said their work on Baldur's Gate 3 took almost 4 years, and the final amount of text is over 2.5 million words. Just a lot of fucking words. All translators were credited except those working for Altagram, basically. So they went to multiple companies to do this translation work. Altagram apparently appears to be, anyway, the company that didn't fucking credit everyone that worked on the project. They just made the decision not to include everyone's names, and that sucks. And then also, clearly, as I said, that's a big fucking oversight to not have noticed that shit was happening. And to not be like, hey, we know more people worked on this than you're giving us. What are the other names? Yeah, that was a news story that I was like, oh, we should talk about that a little bit. Hey, here's a weird thing that I didn't know. Did you know that the Xbox Series X and S, that you can have 8 controllers working on that at once? Because if you want to play the remaster of Quake 2 8-player, you can do that on an Xbox. And that's fucking bonkers. That's nonsense. I don't think you should do that. That does not sound like a optimal way to play, but it does sound like a stupid and fun way to play. Like a real goof way to play. But again, I don't necessarily think that's the way to go, I would say. Quake 2, yep, is back on Xbox Series XS and PC. And you can, yeah, that was at QuakeCon. They mentioned that. Let's see. Sports 8-player split screen, and that's just, yeah, that's nonsense. You also get the N64 version of Quake 2, everyone's favorite version. Apparently, you can do up to 16 people in PvP, online co-op. If you're playing on Switch, you can use the gyros to play, which also sounds like a bad idea, but in a cool way. Yeah. And the PS4 and PS5 apparently do not have 8-player, and the Steam version. This is only the PC and Xbox versions have the 8-player. So obviously, if you own multiple consoles, you want to get one of those versions because you want to make sure you can invite 7 people with all of their controllers over to have a big split screen nonsense thing in your own home. Joins the ranks of that one Switch port of Virtua Racing, which does the same thing. Yeah, it's wild. I know that I think 8 people can play. Mario Kart lets a lot of people play on the Switch. I don't know how many people can play on Mario Kart. Bomberman, which is not split screen, it's shared screen. I know that Bomberman on the Switch, I believe, is 5. There are a couple versions of Bomberman, because there's a lot of Bomberman, but a couple versions of Bomberman are like 5-player on Switch. Some of the old ones that are on there, if I remember, because I played it. I don't remember which Bomberman it was, but I know I played Bomberman on a Switch, and it was 5 of us. I played some earlier on my Steam Deck during Nextlander stream. Nice, Flashbrook, fun. All right, let's put this on. Let's pop this on here. All right, the top of our kit. Oops. So top of our kit's complete as I mess up this wing. Immediately fuck up. You know me. I love saying like, oh, I just got this done. Didn't get it done. All right. So theoretically, if I do this, great. This kit looks cool, but it's got some fucking issues. I don't think I would never display this kit. I'm going to tell you this right now. I think this kit looks really cool, but it does not want to stay together. It's got a lot of cool components, but I think it is a weird design that I would not necessarily call good. But yeah, there. Yeah, this thing's kind of weird. I thought that was neat. It is also, hey, the Quake 2 remaster is $10. So if you think you might be interested in that, $10 sounds pretty fucking good. And it's on Game Pass. Also, it's on Game Pass. I should have said that up top. I did not know that, so I could not tell you that. If you have Game Pass, you should probably just take a look and see if you want to get that game, because that's probably the best way. Also free on Steam if you own Quake 2 already. If you already own Quake 2 on Steam, you can get the upgrade. That's even freer than Game Pass, which costs you money. Thank you very much, Lashbrook, for that update. I did not know that. That's cool shit. All right, let's see. What are we doing here? Anything else? Okay. We're going to take a pause for the cause. I'm going to talk to you, my friends, about ways you can support the channel. Everything I'm about to talk about is optional. You don't have to do any of this stuff. if you would like to. It would be rad, and I would appreciate it. But everything I'm going to be talking about here is completely optional. This is all just like stuff you could do if you felt like it. Don't feel like you have to do any of this. First and foremost, if you're currently a subscriber to the Baer Workshop, let's throw those emotes in the chat. Let the people know that being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here. You get some cool emotes. You don't see pre-roll ads. You don't see ads during the stream. It's nice. You can do that. $5 a month. Like Lord Crashington has been doing. Or your Prime Gaming token. If you have Amazon Prime linked with your Twitch, you can just use that token on me, your friend Pat. That would be rad. You could also gift a sub. We are currently at 45 out of 50 subs. The goal is to get to 50. So if you'd like to become a subscriber or you want to gift a sub to someone in the community, maybe you're already a subscriber, you could do that. That's another way. You join the gift sub leaderboard and the number goes up. And again, when we hit 50, I stop talking about it. Bits and coins always appreciated. Harold's top of our bits leaderboard. We thank Harold for that. It's very kind of Harold. I'll get through this pretty quick. They'll get back to building, and we'll talk about some anime, because I got 3 anime shows to talk about. But yeah, if you wouldn't mind, folks that are subscribers, throw those emotes in the chat. Let the people know. What else we got? If you want to support me, and you're like, Pat, I like what you do here. I'd like to help you out on a monthly basis, but I don't want to go through Twitch. I got you. I got my Patreon. There's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards for the different tiers. See if there's a tier that's right for you. You could do that. I have a YouTube channel at youtube.com/PatBaer. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can subscribe for free, and I would love it if you subscribed over my YouTube. And while you're there, if you wanted to, you could become a member. You could join. And for $2 a month, you get my Wednesday video on Tuesday. So you get it a day early. And the one I put up this week was fun. And you might like it. Let's see. Those are all ways to monthly support me with financially. But what about a one-time donation? What if you're just like, Pat, I want to help out like now and again. But I can't do it monthly. Well, you could send some money to my Ko-fi or my PayPal or my Stream Elements. And everything I make through direct donations, through YouTube, through Patreon, and through Twitch all goes into a fund, and I buy model kits with that money. I have a backlog of stuff that I will be happy to build. Now, this kit came from an anonymous person, because I don't know who bought this. An anonymous person bought this kit off my Amazon wish list, which is very kind of them. So the Qubeley I'm working on right now was from that wish list. It jumped the queue, became the next thing I built. I was all ready to work on the Gundam Rose, but I was like, nope, can't work on the Gundam Rose. Gotta work on this kit because it came in the mail. I have an Amazon wish list. Amazon, their wish list stuff is kind of borked. Some stuff it won't let you buy. There's stuff on my list right now that you used to be able to just click, but because it comes through a third party, right now that's being weird. And also, I can't, on my own, like, I can sort the list, but I can't move things. I can only remove or add things to the list. So right now, at the top of the list is a $41 model kit, the Swarzette. And I would love to build that kit. It shouldn't be $40, $41. It shouldn't be the top of my list, but it is. But I got Lego sets. I got model kits. I've got inexpensive kits, expensive kits, kits that are on sale. The Elfrith Thorn is currently like $20 right now. That's a really fucking good price. If you're thinking about buying something for me to build, like I said, the Gundam Elfrith Thorn, which is a cool looking Elfrith, and a color you don't normally see in model kits, that's a good ass price. There's a bunch of stuff there. I'd love to build one of these things. And again, it would jump the queue. I would build it before before the other stuff that I have, if you wanted to get something. And then I'll make a dedicated YouTube video about the thing you bought, if you're so inclined. I have an alternative to that. I have a Throne wish list. Hop on the old Throne wish list if you'd like to do that. And there are also surprise gifts you could buy on Throne if you want to do that, which would be weird, but you could do that. And then USA Gundam Store. You could buy a gift card at USA Gundam Store. They send you an email with the gift card code. Then send me a whisper on Twitch or a DM on Twitter, because my DMs are open, because that's still a thing you can do. but whispers on Twitch is probably the better way to do it. If you wanted to send me a gift card and I'll buy something there, which is the most convoluted way for me to support me, but a couple people have done it. All right, let's see. If you want to support me for free, and we're going to get back to building soon, folks, so just hang tight. I just got to do my ads, you know. I have a Discord. You can join my Discord. I post build photos at the end of every stream. People post stuff they're working on. If you want to check out the old Discord, you're more than welcome to jump in there. What else do we got? A couple of video links for you to check out. Of course, on Monday, I'll have a new episode of Pat Bear's Anime Collab up. But the most recent one is one you should check out. It's me talking about the failed attempt in the late 80s to bring over Dragon Ball. Harmony Gold tried to bring over Dragon Ball way before Funimation, and they failed. And I talk about it. And then Baerly Rehearsed is an ongoing video series where every week I write and perform a piece of comedy that I promise you I have rehearsed at least a couple times. It's barely rehearsed, but it is rehearsed. This one is another chapter in the ongoing adventures of Danny Local with the local news. Get it? It's news about this guy named Danny because his last name is Local, and it is a news report by a guy all by himself, just giving you the latest on Danny Local. I did it before. I really thought it was fun, and I decided I was going to do a part 2. And I don't know if I'll do a part 3 at some point, but I did enjoy Danny Local quite a bit. So we got part 2 of Danny Local. It's a quick. This is one of the longer ones because some of them are pretty short. I think it's pretty good. Watch it if you'd like. I'm not going to make you. I'm not your boss. I am the boss, but I'm not your boss. There's a difference. We're going to talk about some anime here in a second, but I do need to drink a little water and, meds and that. So while I drink a little bit of water here, we're going to dramatically transition back to the overhead, continue working on this kit, and we'll do that right now. All right, let's get back into it. We're going to work on, we're not doing the feet at the same time. We're going to do all of the right leg and then all of the left leg. So we're going to start by making a foot here. We're going to get a whole foot. And we're going to talk about 3 anime episodes that I watched today and yesterday. I mean, at least one of them I could only watch today because it didn't, like, The Great Cleric came out literally today, so I watched that. Reborn is a vending machine. I now wander the dungeon. Hey, before we start, because all of these, or 2 of these shows, are on Crunchyroll and one's on High Dive, I have an announcement about Crunchyroll. A fun fact. They made a skip intro button. It will pop up on the screen on their web player. I don't know if it's on Chrome. I only know it's on Firefox because I did not open Chrome and log in to try it out. I just did it in Firefox. But in Firefox today, I was able to skip the intros of both these shows because I don't think either song is particularly that great. Now, I won't skip every intro, but if you're watching multiple shows, this might be nice to know about. But yeah, in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, there was a skip intro button that came up, and I clicked on it, and it skipped the intro. So I wanted to let people know about that because I thought that was cool. Now to tell you about the actual episode. So, we had a couple little, last week's episode was a lot of little shorts, little interstitials. We had some of that in here, but it was mostly one story. And a bunch of action happened, which was cool. It's fun when the action heats up. I've had that for a while. It's the only way to watch One Piece. So, it's possible, Lashbrook, that that's been in there for a while and I hadn't noticed. It's also possible it's been on the mobile, which I don't use, or one of the apps. I believe it's been on the Xbox app for a while, but I don't use it as an app. I don't use the mobile app. I don't do anything. I just watch in the web. It might have existed for a while. I just finally noticed it, but I don't know if it's how new it is in Firefox, but it's there, and I made use of it, and I was happy to have it there. So I wanted to at least mention it. Okay, so Boxo has helped to facilitate some love between the shopkeeper and a village guard, which is a fun little thing. This probably didn't need to be in the episode, but it was cute of just like giving away some ingredients for free to help make like Odin, which was just like cute. It was a cute little side thing of like, oh, it's just like trying to help out, looking after people. Good work to you, Boxo, the vending machine. Okay, so spring arrives, and the party with the guy that really wants them to be involved is like, all right, we have to take a look at the population of crocodile fiends. You may remember that there were frog fiends earlier in this season, and they had a lot of numbers, and they quelled a bunch of them, and there was a big fight with the leader of the crocodile fiends. Is this an inventive name? Fuck no, it's not. I wish there was a better name than crocodile fiends. But that's the name that we've got for this. It's just that. It's kind of bland. Anyway. Also, Boxo provides the adventurers with a portable tent, or privacy tent, I should say, with a toilet, a portable toilet, and a tent, which the lady adventurers are very appreciative of. It's like Boxo. Boxo's being helpful, helping everybody out. Mostly the ladies that are traveling. So apparently, the Croco fiends were eating the frog fiends, and they reduced the number of the frog fiends, which means the Croco fiends are fucking pissed off about that, and the threat of them attacking human settlements, which they normally don't, certainly has increased. And they probably should have seen that coming, but they didn't. So then they're like, all right, well, what we need to do is kill a bunch of these crocodile fiends. And Qubeley, who is she understands that there's a soul inside of Boxo. She has used basically deductive reasoning to figure out, okay, this is like a soul, and this is like a live thing. Basically, Qubeley tells Boxo, hey, there might be a rare monster here. Forget about forget about these crocodile fiends. The Stratum Lord could be around, which is a very rare monster. It's like a dungeon boss, basically. Now, they've been warned by my favorite minor character in the show that does not get a lot of love or attention, Director Baer, the Guildmaster, who is a bear, named Director Baer. We don't see enough of Director Baer for my liking. Put more Director Baer in this anime. What are we doing here? Anyway, so that we heard that. What else happens in this episode? The Lord of the Crocodile Fiends shows up. Everyone runs. Boxo tries to distract it, but then Boxo gets eaten. The crocodile eats Boxo. Boxo's had a pretty good plan of throwing pieces of chicken out to distract it while everyone fleed. But then fucking Boxo gets swallowed. And that sucks. Sucks for fucking Boxo. End of anime. All right, bye. No, so we've previously seen Boxo use like science and engineering. Boxo basically used Mentos and Diet Coke to win a fight before. So it is not super surprising that Boxo would have some sort of trick up its box, its vending machine. And the trick that Boxo comes up with is, okay, because Boxo is inside his own barrier, so Boxo is safe for now, but will run out of power. So Boxo floods the Lord's stomach, this big crocodile Lord, with cleaning chemicals and gas, and then creates a spark by heating a tin can inside its microwave, thus causing an explosion, and kills the Lord and escapes. And then Boxo gets a big coin as a reward. But the magic that's leaking out of the bones causes the ground to collapse. And then Boxo basically just falls, and Lamis is obviously very distraught about this, and that's how the episode ends. I kind of maybe there was more happening in that fight, but I was wondering how they were going to make Boxo more active, because it is just like, it's a magic vending machine, but it's still just a vending machine. And this was how Boxo saving the day and using critical thinking skills to win the day. It was like, okay, all right, it worked. It worked until it didn't. Everybody, good job, Boxo. Defeated the big bad and then fell. My assumption is that in this lower area where Boxo has fallen, being separated from people, my assumption is that's where that strata, or whatever it's called, is there. The dungeon boss, basically. The Stratum Lord is probably there. Otherwise, why would you mention it out of nowhere if you weren't going to set that up? That's my assumption. I've never read this manga or light novel, so I don't know. I could be way off base. I don't think I am. Speaking of something I've read a lot of the Great Cleric, and we're almost at the point where I stopped reading it, and I probably should go back. I think I'd like to pick up where I left off on the Great Cleric. I'm gonna make a note of that to myself. I own a bunch of the Great Cleric in manga form, and I should. I'm making myself a note here. There's like 8 volumes, I think. So I should probably re-download that because I have it digitally. I should probably re-download it and like read more of it. I'm making myself a note so that I do that, because it became kind of like the problem was I read a lot of it all at once. If I had been reading it monthly, this wouldn't have been a big deal. But it's because I was like reading several volumes at once. It got a little tiresome. Anyway, it's still a good. The anime's good. I'm going to say this right now about the Great Cleric. This episode of the Great Cleric. I hope they take a week off, because it looked bad. This show does not look terrible. It's not like the best show, by far, but it usually doesn't look like ass. And a lot of this looked like ass. It looked like, maybe some people got sick at the studio, or they really need a week off. They need a delay or take a week off. I don't know, but it did not look great. And the way you could really tell was they had some flashbacks to earlier, like, even like not audio, just like, we're going to take a look at something that happened earlier. And it looked so much better. Like, faces just looked like rushed and unfinished. It was kind of surprising. I bet the eventual Blu-ray, they'll go back and clean it up. But, this is the stream version, and that's the only thing I'll ever see, because I'm not going to buy it. And I don't believe that I've ever seen a case where they fixed the streaming versions, updated the streaming versions. I'm pretty sure that's never happened. I'm pretty sure if I went back to the bad-looking episodes of Dragon Ball Super that are better on the Blu-ray, that they're still bad on the streaming version. But like I said, that's conjecture. Anyway, this episode, some stuff happened in this episode. We knew we were ahead of our characters in the last episode, because we knew that Botticelli, the head, the guy, the owner of the biggest clinic in town, who's fucking mad at our guy, Lucio, we knew that he was conspiring, because he couldn't just like get rid of Lucio, and he couldn't force Lucio to come work for him. But what he could do is put in a good word that, like, hey, this guy, like, he's raised in the ranks really high, really fast. Dat Cat 69, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Working on the Qubeley and talking about some anime. We're talking about the anime The Great Cleric. Our villain of the story, basically, he's like, well, if I can't get rid of him, I can just try to get him promoted to the head office. So that way he's out of my hair and out of the city, which is the plan they got there. So basically, he's been summoned to work at the Holy Church by the Pope. So you can't turn down the Pope. We know that. Fantasy world or otherwise. Can't really be like, nah, I don't want to. As a healer anyway. He's got half a year to finish up his contract with the adventure. So basically they don't tell him to break the contract, which is smart. They're just like, yeah, when your contract's expired in 6 months, report here for your next job. Let's see. He keeps training and healing people. We go through these 6 months pretty fast in this episode. I didn't realize when this episode finishes up, 2 years has transpired in this world, and I had not realized that it had been 2 years in what this is 6 episodes or whatever. Because while the show is slow paced, time moves. Time moves forward in this thing. I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix this because this doesn't feel right. When I put this in, oh no, okay, that feels better. All right, that feels better. Okay. Let's see. He becomes an A rank healer. There's some talk behind the scenes about trying to make sure that Lucille is actually going to a good place and he's going to be looked after, and that the Adventurers Guild in the capital knows he's going to be around, even though he'll be working for the church, and they're going to look after him. And there's a whole thing. And they might have to get some payback if something goes weird. Before Lucille leaves, he visits the graves of the people he was unable to save, especially in his first time. He ran out of mana and couldn't save people, so he visits the grave, and he makes an appeal to Brod, the adventurer, the guildmaster, a retired adventurer who was apparently S rank when he retired. He makes an appeal to go like, hey, you trained me a lot. Please train the rookies. They risk their lives because they don't have any money. And then if they get injured, it's game over. So what if you taught them about medical herbs, and you taught them monster dissection, so they'd always have something to fall back on, and so they could, make more money by, knowing what kind of monsters they need, and also know the weak points of monsters that way. Like, can you do something like that? It's like the survival rate would go up even more. And he's like, also, if they were smarter about this and more trained, then the clinics would make less money. Which, it's not a bad plan. I don't know. Oh, this goes back here. I gotcha. All right. I know. I figured this out. This was not well explained where this piece goes, but I am now figuring it out that this goes here. There it is. Great. That goes like that. Again, not the best explanation. And the other side, when we do the other one, it'll go there. Yeah, this instruction booklet leaves a little bit to be desired, as my friends. All right, I need A10. Let's get A10. There's a touching moment with Lucille says goodbye to the bunny girl who works there, and Monica, the person who got in trouble at the Healers Guild, that Lucille got a job at the Adventurers Guild. And you can tell, there's not necessarily romance with any of them, but there's strong feelings. There's deep friendship there. And maybe there could have been more if Lucille was the kind of guy that tried to make that happen. But no, he ain't that kind of guy. This is not a harem anime. I'll say that. Let's see. So he says goodbye. Everyone shows up to see him off. Before he goes, he tells the girls, hey, we're all going to share a meal someday, which is like, a nice little promise that they seem to take well to. Everyone sees him off. He gets a magic bag to hold items as a gift, which is really nice, and a little spending money. And as he leaves, we see his levels and all that. And, he's still level 1, which is wild, but he's got, a lot of bonuses and stuff like that. Because he just hasn't killed monsters or anything to level up. But we finally see his special abilities that he picked that God had a comment about. The God he talked about. Which we find out is the God of Fate. The God that brought him here is the God of Fate. And he has the protection of the God of Fate. And there's a few other things that we kind of knew about already. But that was one of the ones we didn't know when the series started, which I don't know, I found kind of interesting. All right, I need a 7. Working on this leg here. And then, he gets on a carriage with some adventurers who are going to make sure he gets there safely. And he's off to start his new job, which is kind of like the second half of the first season. And again, I'm probably going to go in, pick up where I left off on the manga, because I didn't finish it. I don't remember where I left off, but luckily, when I go and grab it, it'll tell me where I left off. So, which will be good, because I would like to see where I've left off in it. And then we have Helck. A weird episode of Helck. If you remember, Helck is the show that is about the guy who, how the fuck do I describe Helck? The demon lord was defeated. The demons are having a tournament to decide who is the next leader of the demons. A guy named Helck, who is a human, shows up, and he's the odds-on favorite. Because he's like, yeah, I hate the humans. I want to destroy all of them. And then we find out that he is, his brother was the guy that defeated the demon lord. And then, according to the humans, Helck killed his own brother. And he is the number one, on the wanted list. And we obviously, that seems like bullshit. And so there's obviously more going on, but we don't know what that more going on is yet. In the most recent, so the tournament was fun, but that tournament wasn't all the episodes. Right now, there's some other stuff happening. There's some big bads. Some humans have evolved in a way they shouldn't have, and they're like night-winged angels. And there's a lot of stuff going on. But our main dude, Helck, and Vermillo, who is one of the top demons, who is she just doesn't trust Helck. And I think there's good reason to not trust Helck. But she's definitely very wary of him and his desires and what's going on there. But anyway, they get pushed through a portal, and they are now in a mysterious place. They don't know what they're doing there. And they don't know how long it's going to take to get back off. But Vermilio is investigating the island, trying to figure out how to get back to the realm. Helck has built a house with the aid of a green bird thing. It's kind of like a bird that can talk. And they're like, yeah, well, we made a house because we figured we might as well be comfortable. And he's like, yeah, my plan is to make a boat to get us back to, at the very least get us back to the demon lands. Like that's his big solution is, yeah, I'm going to build a boat. I mean, I don't have a better plan than him, so, sure. How does this work? Oh, it goes like that. Okay. Sorry. That has to really snap in a way that I did not like. This leg part here had a snap that I would just say, not a big fan of that snapping. Just snapping there in a way that I was like, didn't like that. So a lot of this is them in the island. We bounce back to the other demons that were involved in this tournament. They're trying to figure out how to. Basically, they're like, we got to figure out how to locate, you know, them and figure out where they went because they haven't been able to do that. So this goes. Where's Sorry. There's that. They're saying that this goes here. Okay. Like that. I think this is how this works. I'm not 100% sure I'm putting this together properly because some of the instructions here are not my favorite. All right, I think I am doing this correctly. And then this has got to go here. Okay, and then I need E2. And I got to figure out where E2 goes. Jeez. Oh, that's the back part here. Okay, I figured that out. Sorry, I got distracted. He wants to make a boat. They're trying to figure out where everybody is. There's a whole thing. This is not my favorite episode. They realize, okay, they have teleported. They're not on the continent. Everybody kind of figures that out. And they don't know how to find them. They take them to a village. The villagers are not happy with the idea that a bunch of people are around. Vermilio still doesn't fully trust Helck, as we said, and isn't sure. She's thinking, like, is there a way that I can abandon him, even though he's very strong and has been helping the demons? She just still doesn't trust him, and that's understandable. He's a human. And then there's some ruins. They find some ruins, and they're like, what's going on over here? And Helck thinks the island used to be like a prosperous location because there are a lot of ruins around. And Vermilio's like, I feel like I've been here before. So the assumption is there's going to be more going on. And there's a cloaked individual that appears out of nowhere and is like, follow me, to the two of them. So maybe it's destiny that they ended up there. Maybe it's someone's plot. Maybe this whole malfunctioning portal was supposed to send one or both of them there. I don't know. This was a build-up episode. This episode was building up a bunch of stuff, and that didn't make it necessarily the best episode to watch. It was funny to watch them argue still. You know, the will they, won't they is there. There was a whole thing about Vermilio being bad at catching fish. So Helck jumps into the water to get the fish that she didn't catch, but he ends up pulling up a different monster. Like, there's a little bit of humor there. It's mostly, you know, kind of dumb. But it doesn't. This was nowhere near the humor of the first couple episodes of this, like, happy-go-lucky hero type, just being like, yeah, we got to kill all those humans, and doing well in their fucking tests and being overqualified to take over the demons. Like, yeah, it didn't hit as hard, is what I'll say. This leg is almost done, everybody. These legs are coming together pretty good. I'm confident we're going to finish this kit up because all we have left, not tonight, obviously. Sorry, not tonight. But we'll finish this kit up on Saturday because all we have left is a leg, which will start in a bit, and the waist, which also has the backpack. But, like, we'll finish by the end of Saturday. I'm fairly confident we'll wrap this up by Saturday. And then I don't know what I'll be doing next. So tomorrow, my $10 patrons will be able to start voting on what I build after this. And I don't know what that's going to be. I don't know what I'll be doing next. I'll put up some options. Hopefully the Gundam Rose wins the poll because it's going to be in there. Because I do want to build that Gundam Rose. But I'll throw a couple options up there. So this episode of Helck didn't really do it for me. Now is the part of the stream where I want to hear from you, friends. What are you watching right now? What are you playing? What's got you going? What are you excited about? What are you listening to? I never ask that. Like, what's up? What's happening with you? This is obviously this whole stream is interactive, but this is the interactive part where I really want to hear what's been going on and what's up and what's happening, where are we at with stuff. And as I give you time, I'll tell you about me. Obviously, I've been playing Hearthstone every day. You know that. I'm playing it. Titans are a lot of fun. I have augmented my Shaman deck to have a Titan, and it has made it even more of a scam deck because now I can cheat out a minion that has an effect, as long as it's on the board, of reducing the cost of the first spell you play every turn. And also it can do other things, which is all wild. And cheating that out makes it easier to cheat out other things. So it continues to be an incredible scam deck. And there's a new Death Rattle that makes my Rogue Death Rattle deck a little stronger. Because it increases some of the options that it can do. Because it has Magnetic. So I could always just play it with some of my other mech cards. So that's been fun. But I'm playing Hearthstone every day. Played Persona 4 Golden with mods on stream on Tuesday, as some people were here for that. That was a really fun stream. I had a very good time with that, with lots of shenanigans there. One of the mods didn't work, which is a shame, but the other ones did, and they were either helpful or just silly. And then we have one mod that we didn't see because we did not have a cutscene with Naoto. But when we do see Naoto, she will not have a hat. Introduced as a he, but it's a she. She will not have a hat when we are introduced to her in the future. Because I have a mod that takes away that, which is silly. Sorry. Sorry for that. My allergies have been whooping my butt lately, which is fun. Love a summer cold. Love the summer allergies. Can't get enough of them. Love it when they appear, just like out of nowhere, just being a bunch of jerk faces. Love to have that happen. All right, let's work on the other leg. We'll get started on the other leg here. During one week left of the stream. Lastberg says, I ended up getting Baldur's Gate 3 last night. Excited to get into that. Hell yeah. That's not for me, but I hope you have a great time with it. Lastberg, I hope you're having so much fun with Baldur's Gate. But yeah, that's not my style. That's not my thing. I don't see myself picking that game up. Maybe in the future, someday I'll play it, but I can't see current Pat Baer taking a look at that. If anybody else has been watching anything, playing anything, you want to let me know in the chat what you're up to. Anime you're watching, movies you saw, games you're playing. I love to hear that from people. Love to be able to keep up. Because sometimes you say a thing and I'm like, I don't know what that is. And that's fun for me to learn. Mars First Logistics. I am now at the point where all three main tasks. There's main tasks, and then there's side quests. There's side tasks too. All three main tasks I cannot complete. One of them is like I have to get a bag with a fish in it, and I have to use the magnetic. It fucking sucks. I just can't get the item that I need. That completely sucks, and I hate it. That's one, and then there are two other objects. One is a big block of ice, and I just haven't been able to figure out how to pick up that block of ice because it's just heavy, and I can't wrap my head around it. I'm gonna figure that out, but I can't right now. And then there's one other object that I've had trouble with. So basically all three main ones I have to complete so that I can get more gear, and then the next main one. And I haven't been able to do that, and that's frustrating. And the side quests are doable, but the thing is, they're some of them are generated, kind of randomized, and they do a thing where there's a bunch of items they made, and then they just either do the item again with a different area they have to go to, as ever expanding world, or they do a thing that's weird where they'll do a variation of it. So it's just going to be like, hey. Here's a steel beam. it's bigger than the last steel beam. Like right now, I could get a job moving an anvil that is so big that none of the vehicles that I've made could ever pick it up or move it. So eventually I'll have items that can do it, but right now I can't. Or like I'm currently deciding if I'm going to move a beach ball that is so goddamn big. It shouldn't be too heavy, but it's enormous. And it's just like, I've moved 3 beach balls. Now I'm moving the biggest beach ball, which is kind of fun. That's fun. I have found that there are 3 stages to everything in Mars First Logistics. There is, how do I move this object? How do I get this object from point A to point B? How do I deliver this object? Because sometimes the delivery thing is like, you got to go up an escalator, or I've been moving my pipe like I've been moving it like this and moving it along, but the space it needs to go to, it has to be like that. So even though I moved it one way, I have to use a different vehicle that I've built, another rover, to move the object so it slides into the rectangle like this. And that's, most of the time, that's fine. Occasionally, that does get tricky and or annoying as hell. But for the most part, that's totally all right. That's not a hard thing to do. But yeah, I mean, my biggest problem is that like I'm just not. I want to watch more people. I want to watch more people play it, or like more videos on YouTube of people playing it. It's still in early access, so I'm sure there'll be more people making things for it in the future. Right now, there's just like not as much as I would like out there of people solving things, because I would like more, more inspiration, because I have a few objects that I have made in there that I think are very fun and goofy in ways that, like, I think people would like a couple of them I'm pretty proud of. Also, my favorite thing is I have a little rover that is just race car wheels and a booster rocket, and that thing takes almost orbit. The rocket is way more powerful than the weight of it, so it just wants to leave the atmosphere, basically. It wants to leave the ground on any angle, which is great for getting through spaces, like quickly, going from point A to point B. It's not for travel, it's for traversal, and that has been very fun. Overall, Mars First Logistics is a fun game for me to just play a little bit. We'll play it in the future. Next week, I'm playing. I think I decided what I was doing next week. I'm actually going to check. I'm 99% sure I said what that would be. So let me look at my profile page. I did. Pokemon Platinum Randomizer. It will be most likely the last Pokemon Platinum Randomizer stream. We're going to beat the 8th gym because I want to defeat all of the gyms. And then we'll see how the victory road, like, we'll see how long it takes to get to the Elite Four. I don't think that that's going to be a compelling stream. The more important thing to me is, well, one, we got to go talk to Professor Oak. We know we have to do that. We're primed to do that. I remember that from last month. We're going to talk to Professor Oak. And then after we talk to the professor, whichever professor it is, I can't remember, we're going to go to the 8th gym, and we're going to beat the 8th gym. And that, I've never done that on a randomizer run. I've never beaten all the gyms. So we're going to do that. And I think most likely that'll be the end of that particular stream. And then in the future, we'll do another another Pokemon randomizer. I said that a couple times. I said instead of Persona, I said Pokemon like a few times on Tuesday stream. So I'm sure next week I'll say Persona a couple times when I mean to say Pokemon. But yeah, I think that will probably be the last one, unless I can't beat the 8th gym and I have to grind. But I hope I'll be able to beat the 8th gym. I thought the last month when we played, I was going to defeat Team Galactic and then also do the 8th gym. But I forgot that we had to go to a dumb world with a bunch of puzzles. Dumb puzzle bullshit. So I had forgotten about that. And so we had to do all that nonsense. So it took longer. But yeah, that's going to be next Tuesday. I have not seen any movies. I haven't watched much television. I'm watching anime. You know that. You know the drill. You know I'm watching that animation. Um, Lots of wrestling. Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling had a show last weekend. Um, I've shown the machines before. Those are masked wrestlers: Super Machine and Super Strong Machine, Super Giant Machine. They were a lot of times those were American wrestlers who didn't want to wrestle under their own names, so they put a mask on them. Andre the Giant did it once, but there's a wrestler that's out there that works for a bunch of promotions called Super Sisando, a Sisando machine, which is a type of dumpling. So it's Super Dumpling Machine, basically. He had a match with Aja Kong, and it was very fucking funny and great. And at one point, he went to the tech booth and literally the tech area and started and made the tech person play music as if like the show was over. Basically, he tried to end the show and play house music for people to leave because he was getting beat up so bad by Aja Kong. It was very fucking good. And it turns out that tech person was a wrestler. So they could take a bump from Aja Kong. I thought that was very funny. And there was an event that happened for like a special event. They do a lot of this. Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling does a bunch of stuff where they have like, hey, come and meet the fan, like a fan meetup thing. And this one, apparently, this area, where they traveled to, is Shoko. It's her hometown, and that hometown. So before the match, the mayor of the town came and presented Shoko with flowers, and it was like, that's fun. And I had to look it up because I'm like, who's this lady that's giving these flowers? Like, she's definitely a politician of some sort. She was the mayor, and that's fun. So that happened, but there was a fan meetup, and it's on their YouTube channel. And one of the things that town is known for is apparently it's a place where a lot of people in Japan get wedding dresses from. So they had a few of the wrestlers wearing wedding dresses, like 4 of them. And it's very cute. And then as they were all leaving the event, they all left first. And, everybody's wearing nice clothes or whatever. The masked wrestlers are still masked because, you got to keep the kayfabe going, the traditions. But, like, the wrestlers that were all dressed up, like, some of them were led out by their friends, the people they are tag team partners or whatever with. And 2 of the wrestlers were walking down the aisle, like walking out of the event, one in a wedding dress, and the other one is like arm out. And it's just that it just hit me that I remember not too long ago that someone was desperately trying to convince me that no one in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling is queer. Because Japan doesn't have queer people, was their thought. 1, Japan fucking has gay people and queer people in it. It very much does. And 2, this dolled up woman in a beautiful wedding dress standing next to a wrestler who was just dressed all in white, but in pants and a nice blouse, like a dress shirt blouse and pants, and her hair in a ponytail, and the 2 of them standing together waving at people. And I was like, you cannot tell me that there are no gay people in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. You cannot lie to me about that. I refuse to acknowledge your blatant misunderstanding of anything beyond your misunderstanding of people in general. Specifically when it comes to that, it's like, nah, dude. I mean, because the reason why this person, a stranger, and I had a conversation at all was because I brought up the fact that Arisu Endo, when the wrestlers they had to wear masks. They had to wear, masks because of COVID, not wrestler masks, not lucha masks. Her mask was a rainbow flag. And people were like, oh, that's because Arisu dyes her hair all the time. And I was like, yeah, that's not the reason. I mean, she does dye her hair all the time, but that's not why she had that. It's like, you got to understand, This is the girl who, a young lady who went to an exhibition about Sailor Moon and was pointing at her favorite Sailor Scout, one of the cousins, if you remember your dubs. It's like, no. If her favorite Sailor Scouts are Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune, that's a queer wrestler. And obviously, lots of wrestlers have been queer and gay and lesbians, and of course they have. But it was one of those things where you're like, nah, dude. Come on. Arsuendo is definitely like friends of Dorothy. Like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Come the fuck on. Get out of here. Nonsense. We're going to wrap up. I didn't even realize it's 5 of. Y'all got quiet tonight. That's okay. It happens. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I did. We're going to get ready to go on a raid, because that is how we end streams around here, is we end every stream with a raid. We're going to go find someone doing cool shit out there that we want to go hang out with. There's only a couple of us tonight towards the end of the stream, which is okay. But I hope you come along on this raid. We're going to go find somebody doing cool stuff, and we want to go spend some time with them. Who should we go hang out with? Sebmal is showing the tapes, but he's not talking over them. He's just showing weird tapes, and we're not going to do that. Let's go hang out with P2. P2, my buddy Mitch, is currently playing Viewfinder. And we'll go hang out with Mitch as Mitch racks and breaks their brain on that. Because Viewfinder can sometimes really mess with you. Because you're just like, I'm so smart. And you're like, why am I so dumb at this one? And you're like, oh, shit. Oh, it was just that? Fuck. So we're going to go hang out with Mitch. Hopefully, Mitch is having a great time. But if Mitch is also having a frustrating time, that's fine too. We'll hang out. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. On Saturday, I'm going to complete this model kit. I don't know what I'm going to build after that, but I'll be ready to finish up this kit. We'll finish the fight. I want to thank you for hanging out with me here on the Baer Workshop. Thanks for coming on this raid. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, everyone, very much. Good night, goodbye, and good night. Good night, good night, good night.